to PvP finals. Best of 5, and then maybe a best of 3 after. In the bottom left, it is MaxPax. In the top right, it is Hero. Hero is in the upper bracket. MaxPax is in a rematch against him. Previously, they played a best of 3, and Hero 2-0'd him. And from what I saw, they're kind of one-sided. That does happen in PvP, so I'm not saying that just means that Hero is obviously playing better today. All it takes is a couple of macro mistakes or reads that are very difficult to make 100%, and suddenly PvP feels like a matchup that's, you know, decisively one way or another. But yeah, if MaxPax does take revenge here in a best of 5, he actually manages to win, he still would have to face him again in a best of 3. So that's a lot of PvP. And, well, the good news is MaxPax, being a European Protoss, plays in the European server. He hopefully has built up quite the tolerance to playing repetitive PvPs over and over and over again. And it's also just the way of a lot of these open cups. Not always PvP finals, because Beyond and Clem were quite good. Maybe a Zerg does show up like a Rainer. But, yeah, it's PvP, man. Fortunately, I still enjoy the matchup, particularly when I'm watching it, not playing it. And, I do think it's a good matchup as far as watching, because it does have a strong early game. A lot could happen. Cheeses, big micro decisions, big tech decisions. Mid-game, ditto on the tech decisions, ditto on, like, you know, there's a couple of all-ins you can do, there's a couple of clever things you can do. And then, it doesn't go into a late game very often. Late game still is fun. Late game, should we actually get to, like, Sky Toss? Haven't seen one of those in a while. Okay, that's not as fun. But I would be curious to see it in this meta, this patch, just because, yeah, theoretically Storm would be a lot better against Sky Toss, but it's just, you know, so unlikely we'll get there. What I hope remains unlikely as well is that both players go Phoenix versus Phoenix, but there's always a chance. Not this game. Not this game. That's my least favorite thing, is Phoenix versus Phoenix, but not this time. Hero is going to proxy Robo. As I was saying earlier, MaxPax doing more and more of the 2 gates rather than the 1 max expand, which he was very religious about. I mean, no matter, it's been years. Been years that he was the 1 gate expand guy. Across a variety of map pools, a variety of patches, and something about the last couple of months has made him go, not anymore. Maybe he doesn't want to be that guy. Maybe, as I said, he liked the flexibility. Because one thing is 1 gate expand did not give him was the ability to be aggressive. He had to play defensive all the time. I don't know. But MaxPax finding some good news here for game 1. The start of the revenge. He finds the proxy Robo. Adept gonna have to skedaddle, but the Stalker should help a lot here until the Immortal pops out anyway. Both sides managing to run away from each other, but this is 2 pylons powering the Robos. There is 0 chance of depowering. As we can see, it might have been close if it was only 1 pylon. That Immortal would not get out, actually. Yeah, that would have stopped it. I do love that MaxPax still grabs the pylon while he can. Anything to possibly interrupt Hero's all-in. You know, if supply block happens because of that, fantastic. It's a bit awkward, though. MaxPax blocking himself out while blocking the Adepts out, so the Immortal does get a couple of shots, gets lifted by a Phoenix. Stargate choice for MaxPax going into the Phoenix. Now the Void Ray pops out faster, but does have limited utility thanks to the energy base that it's on. The Adept also continuing to block out the Stalkers as long as possible. Is a nice touch right there from Hero. Thankfully, MaxPax did think ahead to a certain degree, well, to a lot of actually degree, and he also got a shield battery. Second Phoenix pops out, takes the Immortal out of the equation. Stalker number is just a little bit better for MaxPax. The Phoenix will eventually regain energy as well, and this looks like one hell of a defense. I mean, walling off against the Adepts is absolutely important. Knowing that his own army wouldn't be able to escape, though, definitely needs a shield battery. Needs a shield battery either way, but having it where it is, very, very nicely done. And then going Stargate to Phoenix, not the Void Ray that we would sometimes see, as people think emergency army defense mode. Void Ray, big thing, deals a lot of damage to armored. Yeah, it can, but the Phoenix is a little more clever. It does require that precise usage, but so far so good. Force Field, though, that was very nice there from Hero, who now has the Warp Prism available to try and micro, but again, a place where Phoenix might come in handy. 3 Phoenix, not going to kill Warp Prism super quickly, but it will help, and it will stop the Warp Prism from juggling super offensively. MaxPax, though, did just lose a handful of stalkers that he really wish he did not. Trying to get a little aggressive right there. And now he's kind of just trapped. Tough decisions to be made right now for MaxPax. He's going to add on his own Robo. Has to build shield batteries back and back and back. He's losing production as well as his wall. Still not something that Hero can easily break out of. What's over here? Oh, a little pylon. Okay. That Hero can break into, excuse me. He might try, but that is very, very dangerous. MaxPax now out of gateways, just on Stargate Robo, which is, you know, he can only afford one building being used anyway. That is a lot of Hero coming up the ramp. Guardian Shield, funnily enough, not affecting too much, as it just steamrolls ahead. But it's laying the foundation. It's making the way. War Prism still juggling units. The Phoenix try and get the kill. So many units for Hero. It's just what it's going to be about. He had taken down MaxPax's Stalker count out beyond the natural. And that has led to the success of this engagement. MaxPax, such a difficult hole to make, of course. I feel like if you were going to improve on one thing in this game, which he has now lost, 100%, it would have been that move out right there. GG's. Just confirm where we were at before those stalkers died. Yeah, this thing. Yeah, right there. 3 workers ahead. Army supply, relatively even. 5 stalkers to 5. Warp Prism to 2 Phoenix. 2 sentries to none. Immortal is going to pop out. Kind of starts taking engagement. Realizes he shouldn't take the engagement. That force field was so nasty, though. That force field was really it. I mean, suddenly you're down 2 stalkers. You're down 5 in total, actually, from earlier on. I mean, I don't know if 2 stalkers would have held this any better, honestly. Now he has the conundrum of going down his own ramp. Yeah, it probably wasn't that. I mean, but, you know, arguably, if he didn't push out as much, maybe he could have fit in a shield, but I don't know. It's such a tough place to be defending this. But yeah, MaxPax does lose game 1. I mean, StarCraft 2 has been out for longer than 10 years. I just said 10 years, just thinking of, I don't know, 2015, with all the Kespa players still being around, too. 15 years ago, the very beginning of StarCraft 2, you had so many wannabe pros. And the best thing about it was that they all somewhat had a chance. Terrible players would consistently beat Idra. Game 2 is going to be on Tokamak. Bottom left, MaxPax. Top right, Hero. This means that Hero, as of this day, is now 3-0 against MaxPax. He did 2-0 him earlier on with some aggressive maneuvers as far as I could see. So continued on that trend. Proxy Robo. It looked to be held decently well, I thought. Even though MaxPax did lose some stalkers, I feel like it's so difficult not to. The high ground shield battery, the Phoenix. I don't know. I would need to go ahead and listen to MaxPax analyze that game to see where he could have improved. But hopefully he knows what he should have done. Because there's a very real possibility that Hero does that again. There's some different architecture to all the maps, so there's reasons to why maybe it wouldn't be as effective or even more effective. Yeah, sure. But Proxy Robos, PvP, they happen a decent amount of time. It's going to be 2-gate versus 2-gate again, which before you would have to be very specific when you're facing MaxPax. Is he 2-gating? Is he 1-gate expanding? Now maybe it's just like any other PvP where you just default. I don't even have to say it anymore. Capcom needs to make an RTS? I don't see an appeal with Capcom, actually. Well, I mean, Capcom has a couple of good strategy games that they've at least published. You know what still grinds my gears reading people talk about RTS is when they say RTS and then they list games that in my eyes are not RTS. And I mean that in a very technical sense. you know, people, because obviously like RTS Age of Mythology is different than StarCraft, and 4Xs are different. But in my eyes, real-time strategy has to be something that you can't pause. And so many games that people list are games that you can pause, or games that, you know, you aren't even competing, certainly, so you definitely are supposed to be able to pause. And I'm like, okay. People will be like, oh, this is a 1 gate. Wait. I had to correct myself. Okay, this is a 1 gate. I mean, I was kind of wondering. I could have just easily compared to Hero, but... yeah, this is actually going to be a 1 gate. So he's bringing back the old MaxPax style. Hero, one of the players who pretty much would always try and be aggressive against MaxPax. There's like these periods where MaxPax was just dominant with this, and then he wasn't as dominant, but still pretty good, and then people tried to all-in him, and he figured out every single all-in and could defend against it, so people gave up on that, and they tried to play his game. They couldn't play it as well as him. They gave up on that. They went back to all-inning. Hero almost never tried to play his game. It was always an all-in or something really tricky, sneaky about it. This time around, it does seem like he is going to go ahead and just grab a Nexus. Hero saw the 1 gate. Maybe didn't already pre-plan an all-in, didn't want to do it anyway. But this is now a faster Nexus, not by that much for MaxPax. Against Hero, who does have 4 Stalkers, but can't do too much against someone who now has a shield battery in the natural. I didn't think Capcom supported their esports that much. I would certainly think of Riot or Valve even. I know Valve doesn't actually support all their esports, but... Corrupsy? No one's ever called me that. How does Blizzard fix the irony on Protoss's brittle aesthetic but blobby gameplay? Brittle aesthetic? I've never thought of their aesthetic as brittle or fragile. Interesting. Capcom loves SF6. Oh, well, that's nice. I know of the Capcom Pro Tour. I never really got a good grasp on how much it was really supporting an esports, though, to be honest. In fact, I feel like I heard something about how... well, anyway, not to go into that. We'll go into it at a later time. We do have a bit of an attack on the way. MaxPax, I mean, I don't think this is really at all committed. This might be able to find a little distraction for MaxPax's Oracle. It doesn't do that, as the units can be properly placed, and this Oracle in the main base also is already shoot away, so yeah, there's not much damage done. But you gotta try, and there is still the threat. This is why these Oracles can be very powerful, even if they seem to take away, like, from Stalkers, you know? Like, I'd rather have more Stalkers. Well, sometimes. Sometimes those Oracles are freaking amazing. So far, they're not, but they are alive. Third Nexus is being taken for both parties. It could be... Hero could try and be aggressive with faster blink, guaranteed with the openers. More Stalkers as well for a period of time anyway. Like, you could try and go for an aggressive maneuver, especially with the shield battery not being done. But... stasis traps could buy time. Case in point. Defender's Advantage would still kick in to a certain degree. Without, or a big degree actually, without Warp Prism for Hero. And Hero very much clearly not planning to be the aggressor, even built his own shield battery before MaxPax did. The third Nexus should actually mine here. No one's really going to dedicate a super big attack anyway. Yeah, not even a lot of gateways having gone down as of yet, so very actually macro PvP. Sometimes you see a third gateway be put down, but then third Nexus, but then you also see 4 gateways on someone's side, and you're like, no, this could still die before the third Nexus is actually impactful. No, this is third Nexus, and both of them continuing to build probes. Charge comes out for MaxPax. Hero not yet dedicating to that as he takes the battle here. Guardian Shield would be tremendous help for battles like this. Extra gateways coming down too. So waiting on that charge though for Hero, which he did forget in the game earlier, but there it is. That and +1. Fairly evenly timed with the opponent. Cannon comes down too for a little bit of static defense help. Robo has to come down on the 3 bases. It's about as late as you could really push it off. If anyone had gone for an earlier Dark Shrine, that would have been trouble, but there also would have been signs. And I think MaxPax will also get a robo very, very soon. I have seen people wait for that till the 4th base, and I guess that's... If there is no Dark Shrine, I suppose there's no immediate need, but... Maybe you do want a couple of Immortals. You do want a Warp Prism as you're readying an attack. MaxPax still hasn't grabbed it. On the more passive PvP, certainly more than I was expecting. Thought Hero was going to be the aggressor. Choosing not to. MaxPax does grab a 4th. All before the robo is down. Hero seems mindful of the potential of Dark Shrine. Does not scout the 4th base as of yet. Robotics Bay. He's going to be going into some Disruptors. Some classic PvP. Dark Shrine does come down from MaxPax, all before the robo. This is... You know, at this time, though, you're not really expecting the DTs to necessarily win the game. Ugh, excuse me. But you are thinking this is an off timing and it could do some pretty serious damage. It can still help throughout the rest of this game. This game has gone to a point where I feel like it is going to last at least a couple minutes longer, and Dark Shrine can help at any point. But with the defenses that Hero has set up, Observers, plural. Cannons, plural. 1 or 2 DTs will not be a problem. Pretty even on the Stalker count. Hero has managed to get quite far ahead on the upgrade. Just started it much quicker and has been putting chronos into it. MaxPax, he is adding on his own robo, but if he did want to go into Disruptors, I mean, he's significantly later than Hero. I don't know if that is his plan, or if he's going to try and go for just a mass gateway. Currently only on 4 gases. I'm kind of leaning towards that mass gateway, just flood the zone type of style. Does have some haphazard stalkers running back. We had a stasis trap pop on Hero. Run around, literally just run around game. Hero is at a lower supply, but this is where the Disruptor is supposed to come in. You can shoot that bad boy more often than before. It didn't get its radius increase, it didn't get a damage change, but you can shoot it more often. And this is I want to say classic PvP, but it feels like there's been more PvPs where you just do not get to Disruptors, but this used to be so common. And then the idea of one person going Disruptors, the other person going Mass Gateway, was actually very entertaining PvP in my eyes. But this seems to be a little one-sided. The Disruptor not even impacting the majority of this battle, it feels like, although it looks like Hero's done fine. I'm looking at the supplies overall. He is still down 20 army supply. He still does not have a 4th base. He does have a superior upgrade, but not for long. It's not that Hero is dead and out, but Hero does have to be very cost efficient, which his style would ideally play to. This is a big stasis trap. Is that actually that's going to affect this upcoming battle? 30 to 30 stalkers, but then, you know, like 10 of them are in stasis. Those Disruptors gonna have to hit. This one is not. Kind of catches the edge of a stalker right there. Love the stasis traps. They don't last as long as they used to, but it's still a long time. 90 seconds versus 170, wasn't it? It's still a decent time. That means that if he does manage to get, you know, maybe hit by a Disruptor, goes, oh shit, I'm not winning this battle, he can try to retreat, and at the very least, Hero will take some time chasing after him. But for MaxPax, you really have to keep up the pressure. You have to continue trading outs, hopefully with your superior economy, of which it is superior, and then eventually whittling away the numbers that, you know, pure Disruptor can't really protect itself. And I feel like it's already happening to a certain degree. The Disruptors, again, not involved in the fights as of yet. MaxPax not getting the best fight. We're at actually a point where the stalker count is so large with these chokes, not every single stalker will actually be active in the battle. With equal upgrades again, MaxPax faster to the +3. Might start including some charge lots as well. Hero does not just hold on to the 4th base, which he desperately needed, but has also managed to recover, and then more so recover, the army supply. That actually turned around way more. I was seeing that even supply overall, but that turned way more because, of course, he's been down 15-ish probes for a very long time. So a 30 armor supply lead for Hero. MaxPax not getting the engagements, not getting the distractions that he's wanted. And the 4th base actually being gotten really does change things, although no, I'm not sure you die for this one. That seems very dangerous, but MaxPax had a lot of Zealots and DTs in the main base as well. Hero is a little prepared for that. DT Blink is being used. As the cannon does go down, that means the Stalkers can no longer defend against the Dark Templar. The Stalkers over on that 4th base try to take it down, decided to retreat, try to go back in. Hero is actually defending that fairly well, but another good stasis trap. And then MaxPax has more DTs every which way that we look. Main base is under fire. 3rd base is under fire. 4th base might be protected, but it's not even mining. And in the blink of an eye, Hero's economy has just been decimated down to 34 probes. Yes, on 4 bases. Yes, with 20 more army supply, but now also missing a nexus, so make that 3 bases. MaxPax has managed to get up to 5 during this entire time. When Hero decides, and Hero has to decide to go for a big old all-in, MaxPax is going to have a lot of waves of army to get through, and he might even get to +3 attack, although the fight is happening right here, right now, so that's not going to be the case. Now MaxPax realizing he's got to buy more time. This Immortal alone not going to be helpful enough. So few Stalkers left over for MaxPax as he scrambles his way back home. He still has offensive units. He actually is still warping in, but this is it. This is Hero going for the all-in. This is his only chance to win. MaxPax knows it, but did he pull back too late? Now the Disruptors in an offensive position can just ward away the army as Hero takes on his opponent's economy. There's so much more economy to take down, however, so that's going to just take up longer, frankly. And that might be something that MaxPax is also thinking of, actually turning this into a full-on base race. Clearly, Hero is completely all in. Make sure that he also has to worry about losing his last building. There's an aggressive blink forward from Hero. MaxPax has blink, blinks out of the way. Disruptors, Zealots, and Immortal getting some shots on these Stalkers. Very important, as these are the last units Hero is warping in. Observer goes down. Oh, no. Hero is rebuilding an Observer, but any DTs coming in here get some free damage done. Zealots, though, are still the option, not DTs, and that seems to be maybe just good enough. Dodging away from the Disruptor still, keeping a decent-sized Stalker Ball. +3 attack had finished at some point, helping MaxPax in these battles. Another Immortal just for a little extra damage, and this does seem like it's it. Hero has lost his Disruptors. He's lost his army supply lead. He's lost his main base. Whew. The all-in, the last desperate all-in as the Protoss loses their base is always a little sketch. But MaxPax does end up holding and ties up the series 1-1. And now we're tied up going on a Persephone. Bottom left MaxPax, top left Hero. Saying I miss those PvPs. During the COVID years, all those insane regional days that lasted 12+ hours. Really, you had StarCraft going on 18 hours every day. 6 days a week, I think it was, because the Aussies were covering Asia as well. That was crazy time. What was happening then? Anyway, so many Protoss versus Protoss. And that was very heavy in the meta. The 3 base, first of all, actually getting 3 base. Like, cheese has always existed. This is a matchup that could always either be 5 minutes long or 30 minutes long. And it more towards the 5 minutes long. But there were just so many PvPs that were around these Disruptors. There was just literally Disruptor versus Disruptor for a very long time. It seemed to be the standard PvP. And then it ebbed and flowed, and then it came back in the COVID years. Then we had people who just went Mass Gateway, which is what MaxPax did last game. Didn't go for Disruptors, went for more economy, more units, more of that Zergy trade with superior economy situation. And those are just fond memories, man. I can look back on it now fondly, of course, because I'm not taking into account all the hours of dreadfully boring games that did happen, not gonna lie. It's like playing World of Warcraft. You hear your friends talk about the sick new raid boss that they just defeated, and you're like, wow, that sounds so fun, I should play again. And it's like, do these 50 quests, and you might have good enough gear, and you're like, nah, never mind. Anyway. I appreciate the variety that comes with the PvP. 2-gate opener, officially. So we do still have to pay attention to this for MaxPax. So he does bring out the 1-gate, but it used to be 95% 1-gate. Now it's, I don't know, 60% 1-gate, or 2-gate, 40% 1-gate. Someone do the math. Stalker Adept for MaxPax, so kind of splitting the difference of defense, offense, and harassment, I guess. Whereas Hero goes for double Stalker and a shield battery?
I am here in the shadows.
Oh, he blocked in the probe. Oh, okay. I was like, did I miss a pylon out in the map? No, I just wanted to make sure that probe died. You ain't getting away without a recall, which MaxPax did not use. Stargate, very important on the way for MaxPax. Hero's probe would have seen the intention of a third, but not the exact timing of it. And if he had seen the exact timing, he would have said, okay, something happened before that. But I don't know if he actually realizes. I don't think the timing was quite perfect there. I don't think so. MaxPax is 1 adept. Very unlikely to get a lot of harassment done, but if he gets into the main and gets a scout, well, how about that? That's still pretty good. 1 probe dead, looking for a second, gonna get a second. No! Stupid wind-up. Good on Hero, though. Pulling the probes was actually perfect. Otherwise, the second probe would have gone down. Stargate for Hero as well. God damn it. Swear to God, if you get Phoenix versus Phoenix. This is a much later Stargate than MaxPax's, though, so this is kind of a weird one where it's like, not even a question of, hey, did you get Phoenix or Oracle first? This hallucination saw the Oracle. The Stalkers get some damage on the Oracle, and that is a good start to defending it. And it does look like Hero was all over that, so it does look like he got the scout before this hallucination. At some point, wait, I totally missed how he got a scout in the Stargate. I guess there was a first hallucination, that's the second one. And so that's why he's totally prepared for this. And perhaps also why he did go for a responsive Stargate. Still interesting to see that, though. This is not something that, if you scout it fast enough, you also do Stargate. That's something, you can, obviously. But all right. Doesn't want the Oracles to bother him. Last game, they didn't do much as far as the direct probe damage, which is what we often think is the most bothersome. But they did have a couple of good stasis traps. And even if we don't see the probes dying to the Oracles, what we also don't see is the frustration of the defensive Protoss always having to make sure that there's 2 Stalkers ready to defend against them, or a shield battery, or what have you. Oracles do dip in as the Adepts get to the main. 1 Phoenix means only 1 Adept shooting. But this is just every which way we look. My eyes have to go 2 different directions to actually track all of this. Oracle in the main kills more probes. Oracle in the natural is shooed away by the very real Phoenix, and thus will die. Last second revelation, because why not? Does that Phoenix scout that really tricky probe? I don't think it did. MaxPax, proxying a pylon, recalls Stalkers, realizes he's in a little bit of trouble. His second Oracle is also now in trouble, and since he used the recall, he can't recall it. That might just be dead, but he's got his eyes set on perhaps an aggressive prize. He might have to reconsider. MaxPax has been totally thrown back to his own base. His proxy pylon can only be used now, I would say, for maybe Adepts if he sees the opportunity, but if he was planning to be aggressive with his own Blink Stalkers, well, that was a ways off anyway. And his first happening for Hero, although these aren't Blink, keep in mind, he went Stargate into Robo, actually. It does mean he's got a Warp Prism. And I'm not sure MaxPax was anticipating that, although he did scout the Robo. He is not scouting his base. Oh, good lord. Oh, no. Oh, MaxPax. He wanted to do his own attack and had no idea that he was being attacked in turn. Is this a clever way of doing things from Hero? As we see him probably just win the game, let's be real. Blink is... Oh, it's depowered! Oh, no. Yeah, he definitely won the game. Oh, yeah. I was like, well, it'll be done soon, I guess. But still, you're blinking into the Stalkers. It's never ideal, but it's not going to be done. Oh, it's repowered, but it's still so few Stalkers on the side of MaxPax. Looks like Hero isn't willing to engage someone who will now be able to reflexively blink, since he didn't have to blink over that force field. And that's fair enough, but he did so much damage. I'd say it's still game over. 18 probes dead. Hero ahead by 12. He's got more army. He does not have blink, so mobility is a little bit of an issue that, could give MaxPax an opportunity to maybe take like a third fight. I mean, it's just not enough. Whatever I think of is not enough. If he takes a third faster, it's not like he can really defend it. Hero might not have mobility, but it doesn't take that long to move Stalker Immortal across to punish it. I do like that he grabs a Phoenix. Recall was just used. This Warp Prism's a bit SOL. I don't know what went down there, to be honest with you. But the Warp Prism did, in fact, fall. I guess his Phoenix was over there? Hero's Phoenix? MaxPax has one more shot, and that is his attack that he had planned. Still has the proxy gateway, and, you know, microing stalkers is pretty good. Maybe the immortal is caught out. Suddenly that's gone. Suddenly it's 15 stalkers to 10 non-blink stalkers. Could happen. This is what Hero has to be very wary of. So if MaxPax expanded, Hero attacks. If Hero sees an attack on the way, well, he'd probably better defend. And, well, he's not defending close at home. This is actually a bit questionable. That's clearly a lot of stalkers. MaxPax goes for the immortal, grabs more stalkers while he's at it. The second immortal is here, but so are Warbands. Hero, of course, had no idea there was a proxy gateway, so he was unable to take that into account. But he does still have 2 immortals, make that 1 immortal. He still has done a lot of damage to MaxPax's forces, and it looks like being on the front was not a problem. I was a little concerned, for sure. But he does end up winning the ragtag battle that happened right there. As much as MaxPax tries to throw this into chaos, there's just too much from Hero. He's too reliably warping in on his very comfortable economy. MaxPax only just now recovering his own 2-base mineral income. Recalls out only 2 stalkers. Yeah, that's not much of an army. Oh, 4 more stalkers came in to kill a couple of probes. There is that, but Hero... So I was saying, he was so comfortable on his economy for so long. Check out that income graph. Big red. Replacing 5... Because I say 5 because he only has to replace so many. He is both of them starting to run out of minerals in the main. So not too problematic. Or he just doesn't replace them at all. Everything goes into the army. Hero's Blink is now also done. But he also has 2 immortals. He's also got a Warp Prism being built. MaxPax trying to get the charge, trying to get to his own immortal. That immortal will pop. Shield battery will be in play. Maybe a probe pull as well. This game could get weird. If Hero over-dedicates and ends up losing the battle, I mean, that's still a possibility. You could also try and play this smart. Nice force field right there. Hero's immortal is going to go down. Adepts in the main base looking for damage, though, are not being focus fired, so the Stalkers are currently winning that battle, and Hero... could be in some trouble. Does start to focus fire? No, he's still not. It's actually the Adepts of MaxPax that are also doing some probe damage. Zealots are being warped in, but charge is still not yet done. Things are very, very close. MaxPax now ahead by 6 probes, but that's inefficient mining. It still is maybe a little bit better, but you can see in the actual numbers how close it is despite a 7-probe lead. It looks like MaxPax has indeed held. Nicely done. Dealt some probe damage to his opponent again, too, so tit for tat there. And has built up an okay army. I mean, defensively, definitely enough. Resident Glaives is now on the way for Hero. And it's going to make an interesting dynamic. Glaives versus the Zealots. Adepts, once again, from MaxPax trying to find just little bits of damage. This time, very ineffective. Just 2 probes killed. Does see more Adepts being warped in, and a good number of Adepts on the front, too. Kind of combine those 2 together with the Twilight Council researching. Kind of put it together that it's going to be Adepts, not Charge. And it looks like Hero's finally going to go searching for that proxy gateway. Fair enough. MaxPax tries to take a 3rd base. I don't know. I don't know. Is that the right call? Is that a necessary call? Because again, they both are starting to mine out of their main. In a way, sometimes taking this, even in a very defensive state of mind. Like, if MaxPax knows that's Resident Glaives, you should figure an attack is on the way. But you can kind of maybe buy time with it. And then if it does end up dying, maybe you cancel it, that'd be great. But if it doesn't end up dying, that's still bought time. You're still alive. It's still 2 base, 2 base. It's I don't think he's doing this because he's ignorant. He's ignorant to the possible attack. The probe even goes out to scout. Nice timing right there. And he does immediately cancel. So that's a little bit more of an alert. If it had been built and a shield battery and a recharge is available, maybe he tries to hold it, but now it's all about the hold in the natural. Force field very good against this. I mean, the Adepts, they can shade on through, but, you know, the farther away they are, the more their shade won't actually hit the probes. But in this case, I just don't know about it in general. Like, it could have, maybe the last few Adepts could have gone into the main, but maybe not all the Adepts, because they would have been choked up in a line, very inefficiently firing. You know, there's force fields, keeping them as far away as possible, keeping the Immortals as far away as possible, all still very useful things. Hero is going to go for the attack. Once again, sending the Adepts in as a threat. Loses the Warp Prism instantly. MaxPax second Immortal pops out as well. Really helping out against the Stalkers. The Adepts of Hero do not shade. They are providing that buffer. They are providing some damage. And MaxPax's supply has just disintegrated. All the Zealots disintegrated on the front lines, I guess. And the Immortals are now all gone. So many Adepts are left over. And Hero's supply tells the tale. 73 to 29. The Adepts... I don't know if they'd win a straight-up battle at this point, but they don't necessarily have to. This is going to be Hero with a 2-1 lead. And MaxPax probably thought that would look a little better. I certainly thought it was going to look a little better. I'm going to rewind and see that engagement over again. He's recalling some units? Some probes? From his... Wait, what? Actually not sure what happened there. But that, Wait, why did he... Oh, they were over there. Okay, okay. All right. Of course, he was already dead. All right, so it's a 30 army supply difference to begin with, all right? That already set MaxPax in a bad state to defend against this. And then he blinked to the Warp Prism, which meant that Stalkers actually got in range of every single unit of Hero. Because initially, the Adepts didn't look very efficient, but whether or not he blinked, I mean, obviously getting the Warp Prism is usually a great thing to do. GG's. The best of 5 continues. But now this man down 1 at his MaxPax. On the bottom right, we do have Hero. Just dealt too much economic damage too early on, even though there is a little more to that game. Certainly back and forth, what-ifs all around. I think just the minutes that Hero had a substantially better economy really affected the end game. Engagement, so that there is a 30 army supply lead for Hero. But anyway, PvP continues. Fun game. Started off with the MaxPax, like a ideal situation, being the aggressor, went to that proxy gateway, was building it long before Blink was even done, getting ready for it, and then Hero was actually the one attacking first. And I didn't really get to go into why the attack from Hero was clever. Kind of forgot in the midst of everything. But yeah, Hero went Stargate, Robo. Then he just used a Warp Prism to ferry as many Stalkers as he could build onto the high ground. This must have been completely unexpected for MaxPax. I mean, it clearly was. He did not scout it. He had no idea it was on the way. He was not prepared for it. But I mean that even before the actual attack happened. You see a Stargate, you see a Robo. You're probably thinking, well, one, he's going to be done with the Stargate very soon. And if he's not, it's not really a fighting force anyway. If he's building Phoenix, maybe later, there'd be harassing. No one builds Void Rays at this level unless, unless they're defending something. Oracles would have been a weird choice from Hero, but I guess could be possible. Point is, not attacking main army shit, right? Robo gets Immortals. That's pretty good. But Immortals, they take a long time. They build, they're expensive, take a long time to get across the map. You wouldn't have a lot of extra units with them necessarily. You don't have charge lots, you don't have Blink Stalkers. You're really going to be the one attacking me first? Probably not. Maybe you get a Warp Prism and do a little this or that with a couple of Adepts because it's annoying as shit, but then my Blink finishes and now you're in a lot of trouble potentially. The fact that Hero went for Stargate Robo and then just for the Warp Prism basically, and then just built non-stop basic bitch Stalkers was not something that MaxPax was thinking of. And that's pretty neat. Probe finally false. MaxPax is proxying a Robo right now. And because MaxPax is, for so much of his career, was a one-gate expander, it's just kind of... I wonder how good he is with the proxy Robo. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he still has practiced it. He's obviously practiced a lot against it, so he knows what is good and what's bad about it. But yeah, it's not like I'm watching, well, Hero, actually, and being like, oh, you got to be careful. This is going to be tough. I'm like, I don't know. Proxy Robo should be scary in anyone's hands. And I'm sure MaxPax will be quite good with it, but... Back to the usual discussion of whether or not the defender has figured this out. We do have Pylon Shield Battery on the way for Hero, as he sees a lacking Pylon in the main for a little bit. That was the third Pylon, this is the second. And knows that it could be Proxy Robo, but he doesn't actually see it. Hero gets his Warp Prism as he went for a non-Proxy Robo. Which, you know, if you're theoretically would put you in a better position, but not exactly. Because at the end of the day, it just means that the Proxy Robo is going to be the one containing you. Kills the Pylon, depowers the Warp Gates that were mid-transition. MaxPax saw the Warp Prism, knows about it, has some units to try and defend against it. Full wall off from MaxPax too, so the Adepts can't get in any other way. Two Adepts could still cause some chaos. And as I was saying, MaxPax, you know, kind of the one containing his opponent. And then just because you have a defensive robot doesn't necessarily put you in the best position. But in this case, with the Adepts finding 6 probes worth of damage, Hero is finding a lead. He's now ahead by 4 probes. He has a similar army to his opponent, although getting down his own ramp is such a struggle. 6 probes go down. Warp Prism just went back home and needs to come back home to help out against this contain. And that's exactly what it does. Picks up some units, finds MaxPax is reinforcing Immortal. This could get very nasty, but then Hero's second Immortal went down the ramp, got force-footed off, needs to be picked up. Now we got a micro versus micro battle going on right now as Hero had dropped off also a couple of Stalkers that are now, I guess, forgotten about. I mean, where to focus right now. Focus Warp Prism, focus Immortal. Poor Stalkers, just find some other way to live. But at the end of the micro battle right there, Hero is able to actually leave his base, already giving him a little bit more flexibility than he had previously. He does have more injured Immortals, and now he has one less Immortal as well. MaxPax sees the opportunity. He's got Guardian Shield on his side too, and this just looks like a better fight for MaxPax. If the Immortals pop up for Hero too. These Immortals coming in just barely in time. Was I wrong? Wait, how long do we have a third Immortal there? Third Immortal came walking in towards the end of that fight. Okay, all right. I did think MaxPax had more firepower, but not quite enough. In fact, he did end up losing that battle. So as good as that looked, as much as, you know, we saw the eagerness as he ran forward. They both are doing very similar things. Although losing the Warp Prism would obviously change just quite a bit. Hero taking a lot of damage on his Warp Prism could come into effect later on. The Stalker that had just ran away earlier on, ran all the way across the map, gets a little bit of a scout, gets a little bit of a distraction. I mean, now the Stalker Sentry isn't guarding against the Warp Prism, which is what it probably would be doing. The Stalker runs around the base and then gets out. What a Chad. Okay. Recall has to be done. And Hero will just skedaddle with the Immortals once he feels any amount of threat. Neither player going up to that Twilight Council as of yet, so Blink is not a concern. Neither is a Stargate. Sometimes we do see a Stargate in the situation. Neither one affording it as of yet, as the Warp Prism of MaxPax also does some damage. Gets 4 probes. Now, they've both been tit for tat on the probe count. On the probe kills, Hero has a spike right here on the income, and now going back into MaxPax's favor. They both are on one base, right? So, I mean, they only need so many probes, but still want full saturation, which now Hero doesn't have and is replacing it. Hero does find the Proxy Robo, and that's the danger, of course, of proxying the Robo. That it could be found and it could be killed much easier. Grabs a Sentry before skedaddling too, but he grabbed the Pylon, he grabbed the Robo, grabs a Sentry. Excellent find with Hero's Warp Prism, which should be able to get back to his home base. But Hero is once again locked into his home base, so... And we're going to have another contained scenario. The Adepts do change that dynamic, being able to just bypass the force field. It's only one part of it, though, right? Like, you don't... The Adepts alone can't fight this, so even if they can bypass the force field, Hero still has to micro his Immortals with the Warp Prism down, and that's still dangerous. And he actually did not just send that home, turned around, went for the offense. Wants something being done whenever it looks like he's being contained. Wants something else happening on the map, forcing MaxPax back in turn. Actually uses the warp in to warp in a couple of units, and that is something that MaxPax is not equipped to handle as of yet. Goes for the pylon, depowers 2 out of 3 gateways. 5 probes also going down for MaxPax. More to come as he's forced to pull them into this battle. The Stargate was built for MaxPax, and that will be a tremendous help once the Phoenix is actually done. Hero, of course, sees that and knows that he is on a borrowed time and will go ahead and leave. They killed 11 probes. MaxPax down to 14. Hero also obviously no longer contained, although still dealing with his own Warp Prism harassment, does decide to leave and go for the attack. He sees an opportunity. He wants to go and end this very chaotic 1 base versus 1 base game while losing most of his economy, not all of his economy, back at home. MaxPax, does he have a recall? He does have a recall. He has a Phoenix to help out as well. That's either going to lift an Immortal or harry the Warp Prism. I think lifting the Immortal probably going to be more realistic than actually killing the Warp Prism, but still, Shield Battery is coming on the way. Adepts are going to shade on through, threaten MaxPax's very limited economy. Both of them are in limited economy, but if they're attacking the probes, they're not helping in the engagement. Phoenix go for a couple of lifts, decide not to. It's a real testy game right now. Very micro-dependent. Hero just literally pulled the probes. Okay, the boys have been pulled. Force Field's still good against them as well, though, and the Force Field on the ramp currently saving MaxPax as he goes for the Warp Prism. He does lift a unit. The Immortal in the air, struggling, not impacting the battle. The Immortals of Hero, so many of them not even fighting. They're stuck on the ramp. Meanwhile, MaxPax had most of his engaging. MaxPax takes the army supply lead. He took out the Warp Prism, and MaxPax wins. There you go. That was one hell of a game. MaxPax holds on his ramp. Force fields are still pretty freaking good. And I do think the Stargate did help, although probably not the champion of that particular game. The Force field absolutely was. MaxPax ties up the series by the skin of his chinny chin chin. And we'll go into game 5. It's hair of his chin. Either way, it was very, very close. And the best of 5 is all tied up. In the top left of Incorporeal, it is MaxPax. Bottom right, Hero. What a game 4. If Force Fields didn't exist, well, it'd be a very different game entirely. StarCraft 2 would be. I feel like it would have been a better game, actually, in Wings of Liberty without Force Fields, but perhaps a worse game for the rest of the expansions. Force Fields, I feel like, were such a controversial? Yeah, maybe that's the right word. And they were such a pain in the ass before Ravagers as well. But anyway, now they're fine, and I actually like them. But if they didn't exist, that game, I don't know who it goes to, because honestly, you know, Hero's Force Fields also were very important in that game, his own Force Fields. MaxPax's final Force Fields were the most important, though. For sure. Barely getting it down. I wonder if Hero could have used his Adepts to not go after the probes. It ended up being quite useless, really. I mean, they were like more than useless, rather than, okay, maybe the probes weren't the target at that point, right? It was like one Adept was firing on them, and the rest were just chilling. So they were very not good. I mean, what if you use them on the army to kill the sentry? But then if the Force Field was still slapped down, the Adepts die, the rest of the army might be able to go up, but is it still, you know, as good without all the Adepts that just died? I mean, that's a big question, but anyway. Very fun. 1 base versus 1 base. It happens in PvP. It's not so easy. I mean, I feel like in other matchups, we talk a lot about if someone does the same thing as you, but they're defending and you're attacking, generally we go, okay, well, the defender has the advantage. Because defender's advantage. Nah. Shocking, right? But it's just a little bit different when it comes to Protoss because of A, Warp Gate and Warp Prisms, negating the traversal aspect of defender's advantage. And then also Force Fields. Just, you know, being able to lock someone in or lock someone out with a very limited amount of firepower as a spellcaster. Just makes it very interesting. 2-gate versus 2-gate, though, in this game. No, 1 gate for MaxPax again, as he grabs a Stargate and a much faster Nexus. Much faster, because Hero is, of course, 2-gate in a Robo at home. He did this in game number 3. Game number 4. He did this last game. And I think it could have worked out for him. You know, there's, like, again, it's just not so simple. If it's like a Terran is 1-1-1 all-inning on one base, but the defensive Terran is 1-1-1ing, it's just like, okay, well, the defensive Terran wins this one, and it's very difficult. Not impossible to make a macro game out of it, but PvP is just so much more different. But the chances of that happening again, especially as Hero, well, eventually will scout that it's a 1-gate, is very, very low. The whole Robo versus Robo scenario, it's very low. Hero should be the aggressor. He figures that he will eventually scout that. I mean, he sees one adept. That doesn't necessarily tell him that it was only one gateway. Because MaxPax has gone one adept, one stalker before. Sees the Oracle. Ooh, the Oracle. Whew. Already taking some hull damage is less than ideal. Gets a revelation off, but that's the stalkers aren't going to reveal anything. As much as Hero doesn't know what his opponent is doing, except the Stargate, MaxPax also doesn't quite know what his opponent is doing. 2 stalkers offensively doesn't mean too much. Even 4 stalkers offensively doesn't mean that they're all-inning or really dedicating, but could be something on one base, and hey, look at that. MaxPax sees that lacking natural. He had already begun a Void Ray, I want to say. He had already begun a shield battery, that is for sure. In fact, 2 shield batteries were already completed. A 3rd shield battery is on the way. Kind of feels like he did actually know this was happening. Did he? Was that Oracle the first scout? The power of replays, guys. No, it wasn't. Okay. Well, the probe scout, right. So the probe scout, it does look like just with the aggressive maneuvering of the stalkers, MaxPax is betting on Hero being aggressive, and he just would confirm it with the Oracle. It's a good bet. 3 shield batteries and a Void Ray. Feel like this is not going to work for Hero. It's a little more and Han when a Protoss is desperately trying to get their first shield battery up, or maybe even their second. You know, and then you're like, oh, only 1 shield battery while the attack is incoming? I don't know. 3 shield batteries, a Void Ray. Main base is still potentially a problem. That shield battery isn't quite done. Probes will have to be pulled to help out, and this is the only play here for Hero. It is a damn good play. Probes have been pulled. Shield battery, though, is done. Second Void Ray is out. First Void Ray still healthy. Overcharge as well. The first Void Ray does fall, but a lot of damage was done. Prismatic alignment, excuse me. Overcharge doesn't exist anymore. And the second Void Ray, with the help of a probe surround, is going to help clear that out. Hero forced to recall his army back home. He does still hold on to an army lead. He will probably try and go for a second attack. As, you know, macroing from this point, it's not going to happen. But can it actually work? Still a chance. There's one more chance. MaxPax rebuilding probes can be used in the fight. And they're pretty decent, honestly. Obviously, rebuilding his Void Rays. Shield battery's done from the get-go this time. Probe once again on patrol, scouting for this maneuver. Really the only maneuver that would have any chance of working. Warp Prism was in a little danger. MaxPax maybe thought about going after it, but there's already too many stalkers warped in. But now 2 Void Rays, a shield battery, a probe pull to help out, and not all of the stalkers of Hero made it up to that main base. And this does indeed look hopeless for the Red Protoss. Even though the supplies are actually in favor of Hero. Manages to keep on to a almost 10 army supply lead. Again, shield batteries, stasis trap. Oh my god. That is such a good stasis trap. That is the best stasis trap I've seen in months. That caught literally the entire army. Literally. That's crazy. Even without the stasis trap, it would have been very difficult for non-blink stalkers to pierce through this. But now we get an extra warp in. Now we're closer to a 3rd Void Ray. Now a couple of force fields help too. Damn. What a stasis trap. Still don't really want to be the one walking away from your shield batteries. There's just simply no need for it. MaxPax is going to win this macro game. No problem. Hero has to try once again to all in. All in, all in, all in again. But he's not going to win. He's going to lose his best of 3, or best of 5, and be forced into a best of 3. Of which he could still win, and then ultimately win the Open Cup. But this is Jover. This is very, very over. This is a little fantasy GG timing. As I was saying, usually you don't want to be moving away from your shield batteries, but this is so obviously over that MaxPax is chasing them down. Or Prism is going to die. And that is the tap out point. GG's MaxPax. He takes a best of 5, but there's still one more best of 3 to go. Star Pants. Thank you for the 4 months while that was going on. And now the final best of. The final one. In the top left, it is Hero. In the bottom right, it is MaxPax. Hero was afforded a second chance because he didn't lose a life, if you will, going down to the lower bracket. He killed MaxPax earlier. Gets a best of 5 in his pocket. He loses the best of 5. Very close games, though, overall. And now he has a best of 3 to shake it all off and still end up winning the Open Cup. Got it in good. I was going to go with that initially, and then I was like, is it go Titan good? Probably not, though. Anyways, thank you for the Prime sub. Heroes 1 get expands, by the way, looking okay. Will he do it again? This is Hero. Yeah, here we go. They have swapped colors on me. It's not my fault. Two gateway for Hero. And MaxPax, not so much. He's chronoed his probes. Needs the pylon for the supply. Can't afford the second gateway when you do all that. Hero's going to scout this. What is his reaction going to be? Aggressive again? In the last game, it was not without hope until the final few minutes. But, the high ground attack looked good. Even the attack with the stasis trap without the stasis trap might have had something. I still would fully believe in MaxPax's ability to defend at that point, but the stasis trap just made it, no issue whatsoever. Very rarely do you see a stasis trap get every single army unit. If you don't count the Warp Prism. If everyone wants to be technical, I guess. Someone in the YouTube chat's going to do that. Stargate versus Stargate. Oh, god damn it. So we had a Stargate for Stargate earlier on, but that was really more complex than just both of them deciding to go Stargate, right? That was seemingly a reaction, actually, from Hero. Yeah, that's the game that it was. Yeah, a reaction. Then he went to that Robo, and then the Stalker warpings on the main. This is Stargate from MaxPax almost 100% of the time anyway when he does go for a gateway expand, something that Hero could have run into without actually scouting the Stargate. And then Hero decides to go for his own Stargate, which is a play. Both of them are blocking each other's Nexus. MaxPax blocking... Okay, blocking Heroes would be Nexus a little more, though. Hero grabbed 2 extra Adepts and an Oracle. So the Nexus comes down after all of that. Could have grabbed it earlier, I suppose, but I don't know what exact order I want it to be. But 4 Adepts will chase down MaxPax's little meager army right here. I mean, literally, it will chase it down. It will warp shade forward and then body block and get the kill. And all MaxPax can do is try and keep the Zealot alive. Phoenix are already available for MaxPax. Hero decides to go for the gamble. He goes into Oracle despite knowing the very real possibility of there being Phoenix. Again, it's what you do when you 1-get expand. And I think he did see them at this point. But if they're too far away, then you could still make it work. But he does need 2 Oracles at this point. MaxPax built a shield battery. Having seen the Stargate? Yeah. Oracle is going to chill in the corner. Managed to get close to MaxPax's base, but was not scouted. Very important thing there. Second Oracle, what's it going to do? So far, staying at home. don't know what the play is at this point for it, but now it's MaxPax is grabbing an Oracle. Not that I think he's going to be so super aggressive with it, but he could. I mean, there's the Blink is not going to be done. He knows that it was a Stargate. So if he didn't know for a fact it was a Stargate and yet no Stargate units had appeared, I mean, this would have been really confusing for him. But he knew it was a Stargate. So, you know, one, he's hiding Oracle somewhere, or two, there's a Phoenix, but then maybe this Oracle can avoid the Phoenix, just like what Hero is planning to do to MaxPax. All right, MaxPax now seeing the Oracles. Stasis Trap ineffective. Some probes of Heroes actually did go down. Now Hero going to lose his Oracle. Second Stasis Trap has to be popped, and it is. Oracle in the main. Stasis Trap. That's a good one. There it is. Third time's the charm. Fourth one going down just for the remnants, I suppose. Gets just one more probe. This is a lot of units lost for Hero, however, as the Adepts also went to the main base, were picked up and killed. And this Oracle is bound to die. More Adepts on the front also going to be picked up. So there is that. MaxPax didn't have a lot of army to begin with, though. So even though we're seeing a lot of lost units, it's not giving us a huge difference. And certainly MaxPax isn't really set up to be an aggressor with his style of play, with his opener. So it's not like you go, aha, you wasted too many Adepts and now I counterattack. His Oracle took a little bit of a nap right there. Decided to go for a Stasis Trap, and then I believe he canceled it? Or was it just killed? Oh, did he do the mining trick and it was just so fast that I didn't even catch it? Either way, that Stasis Trap was a complete failure. And where are we now? Where the hell are we now? Hero, you know, he went for the Stargate gamble. Did it work? I would say no. One good Stasis Trap is not what I would consider as a good Stargate opener. He did get his own Nexus up. He's only down by 5 probes. Not terrible. His third Nexus comes down faster, which should be the case. MaxPax, I guess, could have also gotten a third Nexus, but it's less about how much money he could have had and more about how much protection he thinks he could have had around his third with the other player, presumably going into that Twilight Council, because he did see it, and going into that Blink. Anyway, I assume MaxPax will get a third, but we do have a lot of gateways. Well, 1 + 5 is 6. Still, again, no Stasis Trap really working. I'm going to actually double check this. Is he canceling it on accident? Okay, well, that was clearly not an accident. He tried to save it, but I just mean before. All right, never mind. Tried to save the Oracle. That didn't work. Say Levy. Thank you, Dev Watcher, for the 5 gifted subs, by the way. Hey, Blink is done for Hero. He gets a faster third. This is something that MaxPax is going to see. MaxPax does have a Forge on the way. So, I mean, that tells me that he's going to actually get this third Nexus. Templar Archives prioritized. He might get a third, sure. But at this point, I feel like he's planning more so on the attack. Yeah, there is the third. My question is where, you know, the Chrono is going to go down and where, you know, if he actually is going to produce all the probes that you would need to saturate a third. +1 attack does start up, so this does point to the future. This means that Hero will have a substantially faster Nexus with more probes, so he actually is just mining more. But MaxPax prioritizing some useful army units. Archons will be available shortly. Loses a Sentry. Hallucinates an Immortal. Do like that. No Archons coming in as of yet. Phoenix go for a little bit of harassment. Why not? Okay, Shield Battery. Calm down. Zealots do come forward, chip away at Hero Stalkers. We still have 3 Immortals, what looks to be 4 for Hero. Don't think MaxPax is going to lose this base. It is still so much later. Hero loses 3 probes, still ahead by 3. Still mining consistently more. Upgrade's going to be favorable to Hero as well. MaxPax, yeah, he's got enough to defend, that's for sure. But he was just so much later to the economy. It's not like it's devastating. It's just a little concerning. 4 Immortals also should be considered. Certainly the Stalkers don't want to engage on 4 Immortals. But make that 5. 5th Immortal's on the way. Hero is going to have the ability to add in those charge lots as well. Instantly into the +2. It seems like no one decided to go for a big ol' attack. Fair is fair, although Hero did pressure, did poke. There wasn't a huge committal, like no upgrades, no robo. It looks like it is Hero now a little concerned about a potential attack with the Immortal Count plus Archons. So he is grabbing a couple of static defense structures, also grabbing a Dark Shrine. So that was, you know, the last macro game we saw between the two. MaxPax was the one that grabbed that kind of 3 to 4 base Dark Shrine. Could also be used for Archons. They're cheaper on the gas. Hero poking in left and right, trying to abuse the mobility that his Blinkstalkers have over MaxPax, who does not yet have it. Grabbing his own Immortals, too. And things are looking very even. Hero has managed to keep the 3 probe count lead, but still say it's very even looking. Army supplies in favor of Hero, though, as we speak, and MaxPax is actually the one moving out. He's also a bit behind in the +2, so if you're thinking this is going to be a timing, it's not really going to be one that works. Yeah. He pushes out, pulls back. I mean, we still don't see a 4th base from any side. Only just now is Hero grabbing his 4th. I think that may make you a little hesitant to really commit to an attack. Blink is now done for MaxPax, but I'm looking at that +2. I'm looking at Hero's positioning. He's moving out while taking the 4th, taking control of the map. Still has the Dark Shrine, who does go immediately into DT Blink, so he's going to have that option for a run-by if the main attack doesn't quite work. And he has split up his army a bit in half, maybe 60-40. He's going to catch the Observer of his opponent. It's actually nice, because MaxPax is quite blind without it. He doesn't know what's coming in which direction. Sees an army on the right side, knows there's something on the left. How big exactly it is, he's not quite sure. MaxPax's War Prism now is going to head over, and it's going to see that there is a 4th. I mean, he saw the intention of it anyway. At this point, Hero seems content on delaying, straight up denying MaxPax's 4th base, and MaxPax is falling now pretty far behind in the army supply. Check out the income graph. It has been Hero-sided for a while, the past couple of minutes. Not as much as I thought, but it's going to get worse and worse. It's the 4th base, as they both mine out the main, and the 4th base is available to Hero, but not MaxPax. MaxPax got to make some moves, has to do his own attack, maybe expand behind it, and there you have it. Cues that up. MaxPax doesn't have much defense against DTs, though. I don't think he knows about it. They haven't been used as of yet. That could be big. There are no cannons. Okay, there's 1 cannon, but we have DT Blink, and so that's not enough anyway. The army moves out. The DTs move in. That's a lot of DTs as well. 9 DTs? Jesus. That will definitely kill a cannon. Or 2, or 3. Decides to even blink into the natural. Immediately kills 11 probes. Should probably split them up, though, at this point. Everybody loses 9 DTs just for 13 probes. Okay, he does split them up, and now that's exactly what Hero wants. Hero also with an almost 30 armor supply lead. Barrels 4th, 2-1 upgrade lead, and MaxPax has to defend every single base. He has to defend his 3rd, his main, his 4th. Everything is under fire. Everything is blinking. He does have a very strong army of Immortal Archon maturity, but it is not an ideal situation. The concave was not there. He doesn't have an Observer on the front lines. This DT has just been cutting so many units, and more DTs are on the way, and that is going to be it by the looks of it. Observers finally do come on the front line. Hero is only down to a 20 armor supply lead, to be fair, so MaxPax's army was still pretty freaking impressive, but it's still not going to be enough as he is forced to tap out. Hero takes game 1 of this best of 3. This could be the final game of the series. In the bottom left, down a game, he is MaxPax. The top rate of Ultra Love, it is Hero. All Hero has to do is win this next game, and he has won the Open Cup despite losing a best of 5 earlier. That's the double elimination format that they have chosen for this Open Cup. This is a Monday Night Weekly, by the way, which I believe there is a crowdfunding aspect to this. To be honest, I find it difficult to find where you're supposed to donate for the crowdfunding, but I think if you check out maybe TKL stream, maybe the Team Liquid thread, might be somewhere in there. I wish it gave something more concrete, but I myself actually struggle to find it. Anyway, that's why sometimes it happens every other week. Sometimes there's, you know, a 2-week gap, and sometimes it's every week, I guess. But it's been especially nice since we've had the patch. We've all wanted to see what patch gives us. It doesn't give us a whole lot in PvP. But, you know, there's still some things, I suppose. Well, thank you. It's at Ko-Fi, so ko-fi.com/Monday Night Weekly. There we go. Hero is going to go for his own unorthodox opener, so he is going 1 gateway thus far, but, you know, more importantly, it's not on the front, not walling off. Don't really need to, but it's usually what happened. And he's actually going 1 gateway as well. So 1 gateway versus Hero, MaxPax's 1 gateway. This is a map that has a natural ramp, so if there was going to be a map that you would assume MaxPax would go for the 1 gate, this would be it. Even though he has done it on other maps without a ramp in the natural, this would be the most encouraging. Ditto on your side, too. I mean, if you were going to choose a game to also 1 gate, it would be this one. But Hero did not take advantage of the high ground, obviously, so it's like, okay. Still going to 1 gate, though. He's 1 gating while blocking a little bit of the wall of his opponent. That's not really scary when you're sending 1 unit at a time to each other. A little slap fight. The Nexus is still so much faster for MaxPax, who grabbed it before Cybernetic scored. So, feel like this didn't really work out for Hero. I'm not sure what he was planning. I don't know. Hero does have a slight probe lead. He's able to put a chrono into probes with the opener. I suppose with that, the Nexus is still only half as fast. Well, we'll see how it settles in about a minute. Both of them going to Stargate, and once again, I'm going to tense a little bit, and really, is it going to be Phoenix or Phoenix? We've avoided it thus far. Even when both players have gotten a Stargate, even when they both got at the same time, Hero did me a solid and went Oracle's not Phoenix. Will he do it again? Or will he go Phoenix? Both players should be wary of each other's Stargate potential. MaxPax wants the Sentry. He probably will find the Sentry. Run, little buddy! Run! Didn't the Sentry get a speed boost some patch ago? Not this patch. Last patch? Patch before that? Anyway, didn't save it. You can eventually shade him, after all. But the Adept might die too. We were talking about little tiny things here. Still the loss of a Sentry. Overall, greater. And the Adept shaded back to look for maybe even a couple of probes. Nicely done. MaxPax grabbed 1 Oracle, now goes into Twilight Council. Great. Not going to be Phoenix versus Phoenix. Hero grabs 1 Oracle and goes into Phoenix. This could have been Phoenix versus Phoenix, but MaxPax is the one being kind to the StarCraft 2 enjoyers out there. It's actually kind of surprising, though. As much as I'm making jokes about no one liking Phoenix vs. Phoenix, MaxPax is pretty good at it. He's not invulnerable. I feel like he used to be. Like, he would always win Phoenix vs. Phoenix. And still, he's very good at it, as they both deal almost the same amount of probe damage. Hero's Oracle finding 3 more, though. Still MaxPax 1 probe ahead. And MaxPax's Oracle does get recalled in time. But since he's pretty good at Phoenix vs. Phoenix, sometimes it even feels like he's eagerly challenging his opponent to do the same thing. Not so this time around. Hero's Oracle actually swoops back in, finds a couple of extra probes, now gives Hero the 2 probe lead. 2 Oracles from Hero still alive. Oh, nope. Scratch that. 1 Oracle, Hero still alive. MaxPax's Phoenix catches the Oracle, gets away before the rest of Hero's army can come and protect it. Both of them could still kill a couple extra probes, but at this point, Hero has a slight probe lead. A very, very, very slight one. A couple more Stalkers for Hero, but MaxPax way ahead on that blink timing. His Oracle is dead anyway, so might as well try and grab the probes. Exactly what happens there. 2 shield batteries being planted out from MaxPax because he knows there's a Oracle out, and 1 Phoenix can't protect both bases. And we are going to see a 3rd, maybe Intense from someone. This probe is actually heading in a direction that says proxy. Okay. Oh, and a gateway's on the way. So proxy gateway it is. Blink is much faster from MaxPax. And Hero is the one going for a third. This could be a very good call from MaxPax to go aggressive. Did Hero barely see that probe? It feels like he saw that probe. It feels like he saw that probe. Oh, no. The jig is up. Maybe that doesn't seem like too big of a deal. Timing-wise, send another probe. Build another gateway. Still worth it. Well, now they also know your intentions. This is not going to be a surprise. They're not going to be chronoing probes because they're like, oh, I need to catch up on the economy or keep even on the economy with my opponent. Now they're thinking, oh shit, well, I have to defend. Which means that MaxPax might have a moment where he can chrono probes over his opponent, for instance. Like, you're now defensive, but Hero isn't over-defending. He's not panicking. He obviously did stop that one pylon, and if there was a rededication to the attack, it still is a little bit less impactful now. And things are still running pretty smoothly in Hero's favor. MaxPax does scout the stasis traps, plural. He's going to take this fight. I don't think he actually wants to take the fight, though. Guardian Shield, very effective here. Did he kill his own Stalker? That's kind of what it looks like. Was that Hero Stalker? I guess it was. Regardless, as I said, MaxPax doesn't really want to take that fight. There's a lot there for Hero. That one was definitely a stasis trap with MaxPax. I'm tracking colors. I swear. Aggressive blink from Hero on the bridge. It's a little dangerous if you don't know what's coming up behind it. MaxPax is just actually trying to buy time. Hero, he has 5 gateways, so MaxPax is 4. While MaxPax might have had an opportunity with that proxy gateway a minute ago, it is now Hero's advantage. He's ahead in army, he's ahead in probes, he's ahead in upgrades, he's ahead in literally everything. MaxPax woefully behind, unable to defend his third base. Does look to be losing this best of 3 after such a close best of 5. This is more reminiscent of their first best of 3 of this Open Cup. Hero just looks very, very good against MaxPax. Very confident as well. And is tying this up with a nice little bow. And despite MaxPax's Oracle trying its best here. A little awkward of a fight. Hero is being completely surrounded. MaxPax looking to use this opportunity, but might still just be a little low on Stalkers. Shield Battery also out of energy. Does blink aggressively forward, trying to capture the last of Hero's weakened Stalkers, but he just doesn't have as many. And Hero has now dealt with the Oracle at home, so he is sending literally everything across the map. 12 Stalkers to 6. MaxPax's Oracle, funnily enough, still alive. You have to kill so many probes now, though. I mean, you're so far behind. This is a much later pace in the stage of the game, so you have more probes to kill to really be super impactful. They have almost 4 Nexus eventually to replace those probes. I want to believe in the little Oracle. But at this point, even if I killed 20 probes, which would give MaxPax a good lead, still don't think that would be enough. As we also consider the 4th Nexus, already on the way for Hero. The +2, already on the way for Hero. Charge, already on the way for Hero. The army supply lead for Hero. Little Oracle that could. MaxPax knows he's in a lot of trouble, but, I mean, what decisions can you really make to get him out of it? It might be when Behind Dark Shrine comes to mind. But I think that's also something that Hero would be like, you know what? One thing I don't want to die to is stupid DTs. So he's built cannons, shield batteries, robo, observer. So that would be just a little too obvious. Staying the path, staying the course, just trying to go toe-to-toe with Hero and eventually come out max supply versus max supply. Or hope that Hero makes a mistake. You know, that also makes sense. Hero does blink aggressively into a stasis trap. Only loses 3 Stalkers into it, but still doesn't want to take the fight. MaxPax, I think, was more puffing up his chest than actually looking for an engagement. He just wants to keep tabs on his opponent and kind of not scared. I don't think Hero would ever be scared, but yeah, keep tabs on him. Know where the army's coming in. Hero has a 4th ready, mining. Now moving on to a 5th. He has charge. Is he getting a warp prism? He has a warp prism. Now the time to attack and actually end this game. The 30 armor supply lead right now, probably going to get worse. That +2 timing, going to be perfect. MaxPax know that this day would come. There's not much he could do about it. And unfortunately, he won't even be properly set up to defend. Oracle stasis traps have been pretty good versus Hero, gotta say. But 5 Stalkers, again, not enough to really change the game. As it looks like Hero stasis trap did somewhat affect it, but it's all about the numbers. It's all about the army numbers. 88 armor supply to 58, +2 to a +1. Hero sees the overwhelming advantage and goes in with a concave forced, with him blinking forward aggressively. Once again, blinking forward aggressively, warping in extra zealots, and MaxPax just cannot stand up to this. It lost out too much earlier on. And we'll be falling in this best of 3. Ultimately, Hero is going to take the Monday Night Weekly at a good old, 6 in the morning Korea time, wherever the hell it is. I will say, this was not quite a defense that made you second guess if you would win, but it was still like a defense you got to give credit to the defender for. It's like, maybe, well, I don't really know if there's an if in here, but this was still as good as you could have done. MaxPax just not want to give up, but he knows that it is game over. Series over. Tournament over. Hero wins the Monday Night Weekly. GG's. GG's. GG's to y'all. Coming in at a later time.